Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Carnage Reviews. I, of course, am Eric. Who else would it be? We are continuing our look at the Hellraiser series. Today, we're going Hellbound, quite literally in Hellbound, Hellraiser II. Before we all go to hell, and I imagine some of you will be going there sooner than others, just kidding, maybe, just a quick reminder to please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, and it's the best way to keep up to date with my latest content. Hellbound, Hellraiser II was directed by Tony Randall. It stars Claire Higgins, Ashley Lawrence, Kenneth Cranham, and returning as Pinhead, Doug Bradley.
That call us. It is desire.
Hellbound opens with a quick recap of what happened in Hellraiser's climax. We are then shown a brief backstory of Pinhead. He is a military captain in the 1920s who opens the puzzle box. We then go to the present, where Kirsty has become a patient of a psychiatric hospital known as the Channard Institute, run by Dr. Channard. Kirsty has a vision of a skinless person who writes, "Help me, I'm in hell," on the wall. Believing it to be her father, she decides she needs to figure out a way to save him. After hearing Kirsty's story, we learn that Dr. Channard is obsessed with the puzzle box and is able to convince the police to give him the mattress that Julia died on in the first film. Dr. Channard uses a patient with some very deep issues that are not just skin deep, dumb joke I know, to resurrect Julia. Julia convinces Channard to help her regain her skin by offering her a buffet of patients. I understand that this is Dr. Channard's facility and all, but don't you think someone would notice all these people disappearing? Kyle, an assistant to Dr. Channard, witnesses Julia's resurrection and realizes Kirsty is telling the truth about what happened. He warns Kirsty and they go to Dr. Channard's house. Kyle is killed by Julia to fill in a missing piece of skin. Hey, who doesn't have that problem? Dr. Channard has one of his patients, Tiffany, who is a whiz at solving puzzles, open the puzzle box. The Cenobites arrive, and Kirsty, Tiffany, Dr. Channard, and Julia enter the Labyrinth of Hell. Hellraiser II was put in development before the first film was even completed. It seemed that New World Pictures knew they had something unique, and they wanted to make sure they capitalized on it. Even though Clive Barker shifted to an executive producer role and was no longer in the director's chair, he did come up with a concept for Hellbound, and he was heavily involved in the film. If you've seen Hellraiser 1 and 2, you'll notice how similar the films look. That's because a majority of the crew from Hellraiser 1 came over to work on Hellraiser 2. I have to admit, when I rewatched Hellraiser for my previous video, it was really difficult not to watch Hellbound directly after. That's how well the films work together. Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is one of my favorite sequels to a horror franchise. Sure, there are some things I wish it did a little better, but it does do everything a sequel should do. It expands upon the universe that the first film introduced, and it sets things on a bigger stage. And you can't get any bigger than hell. That's right, about 80% of the film takes place in hell, which allows the movie to show some truly horrific and frightening imagery that fits within each character's own personal hell. There's something, though, that has always kind of bothered me about that. So Kirsty is wanting to go to hell to save her father, and she runs into Pinhead and the Cenobites, and Pinhead explains to her that she is in her own hell, and her father is in his own hell, and unreachable. So, if that's the case, why is Julia, Dr. Channard, Tiffany, and Frank there? If Kirsty is in her own personal hell, why is she able to communicate with these people? And yes, although played by a different actor, that lovable champ Frank does return, though his appearance is pretty brief. And I guess, given how Kirsty feels about Julia and Frank, it makes sense why they would be in her hell, but it doesn't explain why Tiffany is there. Unlike the first film, in Hellbound, we get to see a lot more of Pinhead and the Cenobites. They are once again neutral, so they're kind of just there. The real villains are Julia and Dr. Channard. I'm assuming this was done on purpose, but I still find it strange that in the film, we never see Julia interact with Pinhead or the other Cenobites. I mean, isn't she supposed to be one of them now, technically? She serves the god of Leviathan, which I assume the Cenobites serve as well, given they're all in the same spot, but they never interact. We get to learn a bit more about Pinhead, but not a lot. Apparently, his backstory was a lot more elaborate originally, but due to budget, it had to be cut. And this would later be explored in the third film. Without a doubt, the best and most interesting new character in Hellraiser 2 is Dr. Channard. It's never really fully explained why he's obsessed with the puzzle box and why he wants to open it, other than that he has to see and he has to know. But how did he get involved in this? How does he know about Pinhead? It's never really fully explained. The best scene in the movie is the reveal of Dr. Channard becoming a Cenobite. What a cool look he had. I don't quite understand why his character wasn't used in other Hellraiser films. And yes, that thing attached to his head does look like a penis.
And to think, I hesitated.
The way I see it is that this is symbolism for how hell, this version of hell anyways, uses your need for desire and gratification against you. Hell in this film is very much rooted in sex. And like the first film, every character has a need or a desire or lust, from Dr. Channard to Julia to Frank. It's very much rooted in a sexual desire. It's disappointing that Andrew Robinson decided not to return for the sequel. There was a script written with his character in it. I think it would have been cool to see where the film would have went if he had returned. At one point, there was an idea to make Julia the main centerpiece of the Hellraiser series going forward. Claire Higgins had no interest in that, though, so that's why her character isn't in Hellbound very long. I don't understand why they would want to go in this direction. I mean, Julia's not a bad character, but clearly people were drawn to the Cenobites. They wanted Pinhead. So keeping Pinhead in the mix was the most logical choice, to me anyways. In my opinion, I think Hellbound Hellraiser 2 would have been the perfect end to the series. I mean, when you think about it, it pretty much wraps everything up. I mean, the Cenobites are seemingly killed off. Dr. Channard dies. Julia dies. Frank dies. Kirsty and Tiffany have a happy ending. I mean, really, there's nothing else left to tell here. Unless you were going to go with Dr. Channard fully taking over, which clearly they weren't, I don't know where else you could have gone with this series. I think Hellbound is the perfect ending to it, and it's sad that we got the sequels we did after this movie. Hellraiser 2 has an amazing soundtrack scored by Christopher Young, who also did the first film. The score is similar in style and tone to the first film, but it's more epic, which in turn makes Hellraiser 2 feel like a bigger film. It's without a doubt my favorite film soundtrack. Despite some tiny flaws, Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is a great sequel to Hellraiser. It has an interesting story, a great soundtrack, characters you care about, and it introduces a new villain that really should have stuck around in future films. And it's a shame when you look at the films that came after that, that they didn't just end it at Hellbound. I give Hellbound Hellraiser 2 5 skulls. What do you guys think of Hellbound Hellraiser 2? Is it a worthy sequel? Why or why not? If you enjoyed today's video, please tap that like button, and tune in next week when I look at Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, aka 2025. Just kidding. Well, that's it for me today, my friends. Remember, if you see a dude who thinks he has worms and bugs crawling up and down his body, don't give him a razor blade. Take care, guys.